Thank you very much, John. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending this introduction, I guess, to KYC Protect. What we are going to cover today is, first of all, what is KYC Protect and how it can address some of the challenges that you may face. We'll demonstrate the product as well. So, the key features and functionalities and how it compares will hopefully be apparent to the legacy system. We'll go over some key benefits as well, and why we've made some of those improvements, and what will happen next. And of course, we'll have a Q&A at the end. You can ask questions throughout. Please do use the Q&A function for that. But if we do not, again, get to some of those questions within time, we will come back to you after the webinar. So without further ado, what is KYC Protect? Well, KYC Protect is a due diligence application which combines what we call KYC, know your customer data, with AML or anti-money laundering screening data and monitoring into a single solution. And this is really quite aptly and succinctly identified in the infographic that you can see here. So you would go through a process of identifying perhaps and verifying your customers and suppliers. You would then screen them within the platform, analyze that data within the application, make a decision and have that fully audited within the application, and then continuously monitor to ensure that you're ahead of risks or pending risks. So the key challenges what we have really come across when speaking to customers is fourfold, I guess. Some of it was in identifying key parties. So a customer would have difficulty in identifying key parties within a vendor. They would have a name of a vendor or a customer, but not necessarily the directors of a vendor or the controllers of a vendor. And therefore, it made it very difficult to identify what the risks were in association to that prospect or customer or vendor. Then the other challenge customers were facing were separating false positives. So, ensuring that they had enough data to make an assessment of when they're screening those names, how do they determine whether that's a true match or a false positive. Then the additional complexity of managing workflow within the system and ensuring that that is all continuously monitored. Now, because a lot of these challenges for our customers became more and more urgent due to the current political climate that we have made significant improvements to our systems by introducing KYC Protect. Now, how can KYC Protect help with each of these challenges? Well, you can identify directors, shareholders, and UBOs in seconds using Creditsafe data within the platform. It will also eliminate 50% or more false positives within the system because the search and the algorithm within the screening system is improved. You can also manage workflow and collaborate within the system, and of course, continuously monitor and be alerted for changes to those profiles in a timely manner as well. So I will just switch to the application to show you what that looks like. So most of you will have access to this already. So if you go into Accelerator, Creditsafe Accelerator, you will notice KYC Protect has appeared in the left-hand menu. You may also see a button appear in the Creditsafe business reports, but I will show you that in a little bit. Now, there are a few key significant changes. You will see this component here, the business report search, and that is your search to search all of the Creditsafe data that we have to pull up a business report. You can use this, you don't have to use this, but it's a key and a very, very, very important feature of identifying a prospect ahead of screening. So in this case, I can go in and actually search for a name. Before I do that, I very quickly want to show you this profiles list as well. Now, this is comparable to a profiles list in Legacy Protect. However, you can do far more things within this. So you will note that there's a much more dashboard-like view. So the risk rating is visible. You can filter these. You can search within here for profile names, including an internal ID that you might have assigned to it, and it'll be your own internal ID. You can mass assign records within this section as well, filter by KYC status, and so on. Now, in this case, just to demonstrate some of its capabilities, I'm going to search for a business that I want to onboard. Creditsafe services. Search, and that will go in and try to search all of Creditsafe's business data to pull back the customer or vendor that I want to onboard. Now, this business data is pretty standard across all of our various entities, but you can come in here and identify and verify the key information, view the directors and shareholders, and note that there will be countries, potentially dates of birth that are associated. You can also view any UBOs that we have on record as well. In this case, you can see that UBO. You will also note that there is an export to KYC Protect button. Now, once you are comfortable that this is the company that you want to create a profile for, you simply click on this and it will start creating a profile. Now, you haven't created one yet, so you have to create a profile name. It will pre-populate with the name of the report or the prospect. In this case, I want to create a unique name. It has to be unique. You can then select the data that you want to form the basis of that profile. So the directors, the shareholders, and the UBOs, and then click on create. And within seconds, it is now created within KYC Protect. No manual intervention, no manual keying in of addresses and descriptions and turnover and this, that, and the other. This data then becomes fully editable by you. You can put in a contact name. There is someone that you're interfacing with. You can put in an internal contact. That might be an account manager, or maybe it's someone within your credit function. And you can put in an internal ID. So let's put in a internal ID that I might want to search on later on. And of course, you can edit any part of this data as well. Now, what you also can do is assign it to someone. So perhaps I want to assign it to an analyst to have a look at and perform due diligence on. You can also adjust the KYC status or add a headline note. So maybe I want to say, do not transact over 100K, something like that. So something that's very pertinent that you want the next person to look at. So it very much becomes a holistic sort of method of keeping all of your data together. What you also note is you'll have notes and attachments right at the top. Now, if I can move around this, if you go into attachments, you'll note that there's a PDF attached. This is a snapshot of the report that you previously have viewed. So if I click on that and open it, you will see that snapshot with all of the information that had been previously viewed. You can, of course, add your own documents. So in this case, I'll just add a document. And what this will do is it'll suggest to you, depending on the type of entity it is, the type of documentation that we expect to see for a company. In this case, I want to say it's a questionnaire, perhaps add a description and save to profile. And that is now added. So you can see that there. You could also add notes and archive notes. You can edit any part of that as well and search them. And because you have created this from Creditsafe data, you can also add it to what we call KYC monitoring. And what that means is if there is a business change, so the legal entity has changed name, or the address has changed, or a fundamental change like a change in control, director's change, you will be notified of that change. And all of those changes come into what we call open alerts. But before I show you that, normally customers at this point would say, well, I want to screen all of these individuals. Now, you have the details page here. Now, if I want to screen this, I can use this method of clicking AML screen. And what this will do is create another tab right next to details. This will auto-populate with the names that you have selected and any aliases. It will give you this a selected match rate, but you can pull this all the way down to 75%. Previously, it was 85% in Legacy Protect, but you can, of course, go up or lower. And another fundamental difference is that you have now the option to screen against a particular data set. Previously, that was not an option. You would get all sanctions data, all enforcement data, all PEP data, and adverse media. In this case, you can separate that to minimize noise that's relevant to your risk profile. You also get these additional data sets. So as this is a business insolvency registers here, which is something that's specific to the UK, you also get profiles of interest. Now, profiles of interest are not politically exposed persons necessarily, and they are not sanctions necessarily, but they are persons that are related to both of those data sets. So think about affiliates of a sanctioned entity, but isn't sanctioned themselves. So if you are interested in that particular, those particular data sets, you would keep this flagged. Now, I'm fairly comfortable with this, so I will keep that as it is. Sorry, I'm just going to move myself slightly sideways. You can also select the category status, so whether you want to see current only sanctions or whether you want to see both former and current sanctions. So again, minimizing noise, making sure that you have the least amount of false positives possible. I'm comfortable with that, and it will tell you there's one entity being screened here, so go ahead, screen. And 1 second. Apologies for that. I think my VPN did something then. There you go. It's already screened and come back. And there's 2 open matches here. So this is the search that was run. These were the categories that were searched. You can assign that search to someone to have a look at as well. But of course, you have the profile level, case level assignment up the top. You can open this and have a look at those particular matches. Now, this works very similarly to Legacy Protect. So you can come in here, say no or yes, and you can view the details as well. Let me just open this very quickly so you can see what that looks like. It is separated in terms of categories, so it's easier for you to deduce what the search is in relation to, and then of course the sources. Move back, and then once I've made the decisions and save decision. Now there are no other open matches against this, but everything that I've marked as a true match will move here. And you can go through each of these tabs. These are the key parties that we had imported earlier and conduct the same. You can also add new key parties if you have identified perhaps a shareholder that wasn't in our data, and really enrich the profile with your own information as well. In this case, I'm going to try and screen the directors. And again, an additional data set here that previously wasn't available, disqualified director for the UK. And you've also got the additional filters available for PEP tiers. Now, for anyone that's interested in PEPs in particular, this is a method of you, again, trying to filter out noise that's not relevant to you. It may be that you're only interested in PEP tier 1s and PEP tier 2s. Those are your heads of state and your heads of central banks, that sort of thing. And PEP tier 3s would be all of your local level PEPs that don't really, in general, pose much of a anti-bribery and corruption risk. So it might be that you want to take them out and you're not really interested in them. Screen, and that will go off and do the screening and start populating with the results. You can see there, no results here, no results there, but we have 6 matches here. Expand that and have a look and do the same decisioning. Now, I will just mark all of these as false positives. Once you have made your decision on these matches and you have no open matches, you can also add it to monitoring. And this works very similarly to the way that Legacy Protect worked. The only real difference is that you have these additional data sets, and you can define where the alerts go. You can, of course, add more recipients if you wish as well. So a little bit more flexibility and far more data sets to really screen against from an ongoing basis. Save, and that is now monitored. Now, whenever you get an alert, whether that be an AML screening alert, so something has changed, maybe as someone's become sanctioned or enforced upon, and perhaps the business has changed as well. If you've got KYC monitoring also activated, maybe there's been a change of address or a director's change, you can navigate to open alerts, and all of the alerts will be sitting here. So all of your sanctions and PEPs and enforcement alerts will sit under the AML alerts tab, and your KYC alerts, so business changes, will sit under this tab here. And of course, it's all fully audited. Now, once you have done all of that, you may be very comfortable to sort of process this and say, right, I want to assign it a risk. You can also do that. Say it's medium risk, assign it a KYC status. Maybe I want to say it's approved. And perhaps I want to give it a KYC review date. So I would review this in about a year's time. But for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to say it's the 20th. Now, what will happen once that data lapses is if I go back to my profiles, when that data lapses, if I filter on approved, review due, the status, once this KYC review date elapses, will change from approved but review due. And this really enables you to stay on top of your KYC processes and compliance processes as well, to ensure that you're reviewing it in a timely manner and refreshing the data if need be, or modifying the risk. Any questions so far? I think there might be a question in the Q&A, John.
Yeah, we've got 2 questions. The first one, do you have to add your email address each time for monitoring?
At the moment, yes, but we do have a piece of work happening in the next few months, which will enable you to set a global default. So there is a continuous enhancements happening within the tool as well. Sorry, go ahead, John.
Sorry, and the second question, are monitoring alerts part of monitoring events that can be retrieved via the API?
Yes, everything is retrievable via API as well. So if you're an API customer, absolutely. So it's, the same functionality that you see today through the UI is available through the API. Okay, so that's how you would normally.
One more question came in there. So it says, right now I see Legacy Protect as well as KYC Protect. Will Legacy Protect eventually be outphased completely?
Correct. So we'll come to that in a second, but the target date for that is the 1st of September. We're hoping to decommission Legacy Protect. But what will happen before that is a migration of your records, but you will be contacted by your respective country managers for that, so your account managers, etc. And they will walk you through that process. Okay. I will loop back to that in a second, but I'll just show you how to create profiles without using our data, because of course, there are instances that perhaps you have a prospect that's an individual, or maybe it's not in our data. So what you can do is create a profile manually. So click on the create manual profile at the bottom. And in this case, I want to say, right, I want to create a profile for Donald Trump. I want to say it's an individual. Now, when you select a type here, it will preload a template based on the type of entity that you select. Excuse me. And it will suggest to you what is expected for that type of entity. So I'm going to say it's an individual, and it will ask me, okay, well, all you need to really populate is a name. If you want to populate more information, of course, it's better from a screening perspective. So if you've got a country or a date of birth, then that will help you with that process. You can also upload attachments, right? So if you have documentation, a passport, a utility bill, something like that, that actually helps you on board, you can load that up into the same profile. In this case, I want to create a profile. Oh, I've got the same profile, of course. Unique profiles names are needed to create, and then it will pre-populate it in a very similar format to the previous one that you've seen. Of course, data or profiles that are created manually are not able to utilize KYC monitoring, so the business change elements. That's the only thing that I would want to note here. But you can run screening in the same way, you can enrich it the same way, you can add, edit details and things like that, but it just depends on the type of profile that you've created and this type in particular of profile that you've created. Now, all of the other functionality that you had previously is also here. So irrespective of whether you create a profile or not, you can navigate to these quick links at the side. So if I go to screen, you can do all your business screening here or your individual screening here. The differences are, of course, the match percentage is, you can go lower if you wish, and also the ability to separate all of your data sets. So if I wanted to run that same search again, so Donald Trump, and I'll keep all of this categories selected and search, you will see all of the details appear, but it is parsed in a very different way. So there's much more data behind these search results. So if I come here, you can see Peter Gonza. There's an alias there, I'm sure. And you can actually hover over these icons and see if we have an image, a little icon will come up and it will be activated or highlighted. And this is the guy I want. View details. And here you go. You've got an about us, a contact, an address information if we have it. All of the email categories, and it's all sectioned out in terms of data sets as well. So your enforcements, your adverse media, but what we also have is business links and individual links. Now in Legacy Protect, you would have something like this in terms of associations, but what it wouldn't show you is associations and where they sit. So in this case, it will show you the business links and what categories they fall under as well. So if there are business links or individual links with sanctions, for example, or adverse media, that becomes a reputational risk issue for you. Commercially, do you want to be involved with that type of business relationship? It becomes very much a commercial decision. So it gives you much more holistic, in-depth data, and all, hopefully fully sourced. Your sources here with a summary that you can tap into to conduct further investigation if you want to. Now, if I go back to my results, from here you can, of course, add to a profile as well and create a profile, which would basically create a manual profile. And add all of these to a new record. So I'm going to create one for Donald Trump, web demo, select the type, and create. And that is now created again. And you can see if I go under the AML screen results part, the AML is worth pointing out, AML screen will only appear if you have actually screened it. So if you haven't screened something, it will not appear. If I expand that, you can see all of the results that I previously had seen as well. So it's a method for you keeping things together in one place as well and making sure that things are really documented thoroughly against a particular record. It might be, actually, I want to do the opposite. I want to do that. And then this, save decision. And then you can see no open matches, but under true match, Donald Trump is there. And of course, you have monitoring as well. So all of your open alerts will appear here. So let me go to Gazprom. You can see all of the open alerts for Gazprom as a way to manage your ongoing work lists. And you have your audits and upload function. Now, in the uploads function, it's worth pointing out that it is different to Legacy Protect. There are multiple things you can do through this template. Now, you can create a profile and add it to just initial screening, just to run the first check, or you can create a profile and add it to both initial screening and monitoring. And of course, you can select the data sets that you want to screen against as well. You can add key parties within the profile. So it creates the profile and the key parties underneath. But you can also critically and very different to Legacy Protect, use this upload function to mass delete profiles. That wasn't previously available in Legacy Protect. So, many customers had fed back that they couldn't stay on top of their data. So we've introduced the profile delete function to ensure that quality can be managed. I will stop there and pause for more questions.
Yeah, we just had one more come in. When are the reports available in the API?
Reports, sorry, can you clarify? Reports for monitoring alerts?
It must be that, yeah.
Okay, that's in the next few weeks. There's going to be monitoring reports. I will confirm what that timeline is, but it will be before September, certainly.
Okay, there's no other questions at the moment.
Okay. Right, I will continue. So in summary, the key benefits of KYC Protect is, first of all, the integration with Creditsafe business data to enable you to identify and verify your business prospects. So whether they're prospects, vendors, or customers, improved accuracy. So the search that I have demonstrated for screening is far more improved in terms of not just the algorithm, but also the output. So we have seen 50% less false positives using this search. You have improved profile management and creation, an improved interface, we would hope, but far more intuitive. Faster processing. So we've improved the processing and the optimization workflows behind the process as well. New data sets as well within the product, the ability to filter out elements within those data sets to reduce, again, more false positives and things that are not applicable to your business. We have improved the monitoring capabilities as well by introducing KYC monitoring, so business change monitoring. And of course, within this year, we are going to be introducing enhanced reporting and a dashboard within the platform as well. So you will be able to see aggregations of where your portfolio sets, the risk within that portfolio, and open items, pending items with individuals, that sort of thing, and have made a lot of improvements in the data as well. So what's next? So access to KYC Protect has already been granted for existing customers to use. What you will note is also you have compliance alerts within the business report. Those compliance alerts will now direct to KYC Protect from the 19th of June. So where you have these alerts and you can view the details, view results, that will no longer direct to Protect, but will redirect you to KYC Protect. But you already have access to that, so there should be no interruption to your service. But please do look out for communications regarding your migration of your records. That will come from your account manager or a person within Creditsafe for your particular entity. Migration activities will begin at the end of July. But if you're looking at your portfolio in Legacy Protect now, you could cleanse some of that data. That will at least, help you move records over that should be moved over. And the conclusion of that migration will be at the end of August. The deadline, again, to migrate is the 1st of September. But if you have any concerns about that or any questions around that, please do raise this with your account manager or within the Q&A function, and we will address it after this call. Any other questions? No?
No more.
Okay. Well, thank you very much all for attending, and I hope that was helpful.